Hello everyone, welcome to AKS IAS Academy. Today we have with us Major Abhinadan Singh. So Abhinadan sir has cracked UPSC and got into the All India Services, that is the Indian Police Service. Welcome sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shashank. It's a pleasure being here.
Same here sir. Sir, to put things first, could you briefly explain about your academic background as well as your family background?
Okay, so I come from a very small but a very beautiful border town which is situated in Jammu and Kashmir. It's Aknoor, which is situated on the bank of River Chenab. So I've done my schooling and my graduation from Jammu itself. Schooling I did from my school in Aknoor, which is St. Francis Higher Secondary School. And post completing my 12th, based on the government exam which happened in the States, I did my graduation, that is BTech in Electronics and Communication,
Okay.
from the government college, which is affiliated to the University of Jammu. And as far as my parents and family is concerned, I come from a family of both farmers and teachers. My grandfather, he is a teacher. He was teacher when he retired. My father
Okay.
retired as a lecturer 2 years ago. And my mother is still working. She is the headmistress in a school, again, a government
Okay.
school.
Okay.
And I have two siblings. My elder brother, he was earlier in the Intelligence Bureau and right now into the EPFO.
Okay.
And my elder sister, she's a doctor.
Okay, good to know, sir. Sir, earlier you were into the armed forces, right? Or the army. And where did this motivation come in? Because these days we see when it comes to serving the nation or taking up such a huge challenge where you are dedicating your youth for the country. And many of the youth today are apprehensive, even the family members for that matter. So, what was your circumstances where you were determined to get into the armed service?
For me, the thing is that when I was growing up as a child in school and college, based on the upbringing that my teachers gave me, my parents gave me, there was only one thought in my mind, that was to serve the country in whatever way possible.
Mm-hmm.
Even while I was in college, I was not very sure whether I'll be joining the army or not. Army was never on mind, in fact. But one thing was absolutely clear, that I want to dedicate my life and my youth to the service of the country. And it was with this thought process that when I was in the college, I, along with a few friends of mine, we started an NGO also in Aknoor. It was named as Vishwas.
Acha.
So we started conducting activities, we started organizing events with respect to awareing people about the changing climate, what we need to do, about the right to information, about other issues, and even upliftment of sports among the local population and the youth especially. So that element of serving the country was always there.
Acha.
So when I was in the pre-final year of my college,
Hmm.
and one fine day when I went to the college, I came to know that a team of army officers had come to the college. So they'd come to interview a few students and they shortlist. There was an entry earlier. It is called the University Entry Scheme.
Mm-hmm.
Now it has been discontinued. But as per that entry, a team of officers comes to your college. They interview you.
Okay.
And then based on that interview, they shortlist you and send you for the SSB.
Hmm.
So without any preparation, on the day when the army team came, so I just sat for the interview. And coincidentally, I cleared the interview and I was shortlisted to appear
Amazing.
for the SSB. So
Amazing.
then I went for the SSB in Allahabad, 19 SSB,
Mm-hmm.
and I cleared it. Simultaneously, there was another examination which happened. This was for the Air Force.
Okay.
This also happened in 2013. So I cleared the written examination and I was sent for the SSB to Dehradun.
Acha.
So I cleared both these SSBs.
Hmm.
So by the time I finished my graduation in May of 2014, so I had this, as Robert Frost says, that two roads diverged by the wood.
Hmm.
And I chose the one that was less traveled by. I had the option of going to the army, going to the Air Force, or not joining any of the two forces and maybe preparing for civil services.
Hmm.
So, but as luck would have it, and I made a very conscious decision
Acha.
that olive green or the Indian Army is what I'm supposed to join. And I joined that and landed up in the Indian Military Academy as a 21-year-old.
Amazing, amazing. So at the age of 21, you were into the armed services.
Yes.
And you spoke about your NGO Vishwas. Any specific thought process? The name itself looks a bit curious and specific. So any specific thought process went into this?
It's a very interesting story, actually. What happened is, I have been, and my friends, we've been sports persons all our lives. So earlier I used to play cricket. And in fact, I did play under 19 for the state also,
Acha.
Jammu Kashmir. And because then studies started taking over and then the shift from cricket to basketball happened. So we played basketball when I came to the college. So we had been playing basketball for good maybe 7-8 years.
Acha.
But the irony was we had not played one professional game anywhere. So we thought that let's create an organization where at least we create opportunities for ourselves also
True that.
and for the youth of the town. So it was with that thought process that we started building up the NGO. Initially, the NGO was named as Trust in English, the capital Trust. It stood for Trust for Research and Uplift of Sports Among Teens.
Amazing.
So initially it was just sports. But that element of service, as I told you, was always there.
Yeah.
And inspired by, we had a principal in the school that time, Father Joseph. I come from a convent school.
Okay.
So he has been a great motivator and he has been a great presence in our lives. We are still in touch with him. So he motivated us to enlarge the mandate of the NGO. So it was then that this English Trust became Vishwas.
Acha.
So then we started organizing events. We started marathon for the first time in Aknoor. We conducted 2 editions of that. We organized debates across the state of Jammu and Kashmir. We were able to coordinate with the SDM's office, with the DSP's office. A lot of activities we were able to take.
Amazing. Good to know that, sir. And also, looking at the circumstance or the region that you come from or you hail from, so Jammu and Kashmir, this region has been riddled with insurgency and a lot of law and order issues. So, growing up in such a situation, did it somehow have some inhibition or inhibiting factors in your education or the circumstance that you have grown up?
Actually, it is a misconception sometimes with respect to Jammu Kashmir. Because Jammu Kashmir as a state is divided into 2 provinces. One is the Jammu and the other is Kashmir.
Okay.
So I come from the Jammu part of it. Kashmir, yes, has been under a lot of pressure, a lot of shutdowns have been there over the period of time and students have suffered. But when it comes to Jammu province, barring a few areas, maybe the higher up the mountains or maybe this Rajouri and Poonch district, other than that, mostly the place has been very peaceful. If you ask about us, not much has interrupted our regular education. But yes, off and on, sometimes some terrorist attacks have happened. But generally, if you ask me, it has not interfered with our education or our routine affairs.
Okay.
Yeah, so we had a normal childhood. Yes.
They say it's also the paradise on earth.
Absolutely.
So
cannot be overstated. It is actually a paradise. I'm yet to see whole of paradise. But definitely, I would, through you, tell all the viewers of yours and all the people in Hyderabad, in Telangana and entire southern part of the country, that whenever you find time, definitely spare some time and visit the state of Jammu Kashmir. You will not regret it.
So I hope that clears a lot of misconceptions about the region though.
Yes, there's a misconception because what happens is the people outside, like you asked me about Jammu Kashmir. So people outside think that Jammu and Kashmir is one in terms of the topography and geography also.
Yeah.
So as soon as the last district of Punjab, as you go in train, the last district of Punjab is Pathankot. So when people are in train, sometimes we are told that when we cross Pathankot, we take up our sweaters. But actually, if you see, the weather of Jammu is as good as Delhi.
True that.
So that is a misconception and a lot of other things which regarding terrorism, regarding safety. So things have improved a lot. Yes.
And yet there's scope for much more improvement. Maybe.
Absolutely. There's always a scope. And I think if we want what our forefathers dreamt of, the developed India, to take India to where we all want, then definitely scope for improvement, not just in Jammu Kashmir, in the entire country. It will always be there.
True that. And we're sure that you would do that.
All of us
given
will
any
do it.
opportunity.
All of us, definitely.
Certainly. And as part of your service in the army, could you share some experiences which were actually life transforming?
So as I told you, as a 21-year-old, I landed up in the Indian Military Academy. But one advantage I had, because I come from a farming background, I had always been an active sports person. So physically, I did not find it much problem because it has a mix of the cadets, the gentlemen cadets we call in the Indian Military Academy. So gentlemen cadets come from different parts of the country with different backgrounds, with different kind of exposure to the physical fitness that is required.
Sure.
So if you ask about me, physically, yes, it was not challenging, but yes, mentally, they test you big time. They test your limits, and once you are done with your training, by that time, it is ingrained in you that there's no limit. There's nothing that human body, there's nothing that human will cannot withstand. Just for an instance, there is a route march. Route march is a kind of long run that we have to take as a team, in which we have 20-25 kg of load with us,
Okay.
We have our weapons, we have rocket launchers,
Oh my God.
and we have radio sets which we are supposed to carry as a team.
Hmm.
So it is actually a 5-day process. First, 5 to 6 days we are in a camp, and when the camp winds up, they leave us at a very remote location, and from there we have to run as a team and reach the academy. So it's a competition also. There are 16 companies, 16 groups in the academy, and whosoever reaches first will be the winner. So it starts like the total distance can be anywhere from 60 to 90 kilometers, depending upon whether you are able to track or navigate the map correctly. So that is one challenge, and the terrain is like that. Sometimes you have to climb the mountains and keep climbing, and then all of a sudden you will be going down and down and down. So it's like a big kind of challenge in terms of distance, in terms of the mental fitness that is tested. So that is something that it's just one of the events that they teach. But if I share my experiences of that particular run back, it is called Bhadraj because of the mountain that is there that we have to climb. So we started at around 5 to 6 in the evening. So we were left, and it is like that. You're not supposed to just run yourself. You have to make sure that the entire 40 persons who are running with you, they also close in, because you will not be, your report at any particular checkpoint will not be counted unless you actually stand there, all 40 of you, and give the report that everything, all 40 individuals, with each and every small thing that was given to you, may it be weapons, your rocket launchers, as I told you, your LMGs are there. So if you get everything intact at the right time, then only the report is counted. So that is something that lifts you up, because physically you're tired, your feet are aching, your feet are numb. Sometimes people are bleeding.
True that.
But they're not stopping. Sometimes we're required to take the loads of our teammates. Sometimes we're required to lift them up. And I remember when we were just about to wind up, we are closing in on the academy. We lost the track. And just before the academy, there is a Tons River. And it was peak winters. And we had to navigate through the Tons River. We were half drenched till our knees. We were in the water.
Okay.
And it was winters. We were already running since last evening. And we were dead tired. But we were just going through the motion. And we did it. And actually, we won that championship in 2014.
Oh,
Yes.
great to know that.
Yes. So this is just one of many events which happen in the academy. And they shape your character. They shape the perspective that you have about life. And actually, you start believing that there is no limitation. So that's how people are groomed in the academy.
True that. Sir, how exactly is the training in the academy? See, most of the youth want to get into the army, right? But somehow there are a lot of apprehensions about the training. Could you briefly tell us how the training happens in the academy? Or what does it require to surpass the training?
I think the only thing that is required is sincerity. As I told you in the beginning, when you join the academy, people are at different levels. Some have never done 1 kilometers of run. Some have never seen what push-up is, physical fitness is. And there are people who may have been some sports persons. There are some people who are into weightlifting, bodybuilding, all that. So when the people come to the academy, they are at different standards. But the beauty of academy is, by the time you end the training, all of you are almost at the same level. So that is the beauty. So first,
You're brought at the same level or you reach the same level?
you reach the same level, because they train you so much that the basic bare minimum is achieved by everybody. And that is the first myth that I think needs to be dispelled, that even if you're not physically fit, the academy will prepare you for that. And there are other things. In academy, they teach you a lot of things. First, as I already told you, they breach the limit that we have mentally. There's no limit. Secondly, they build that spirit of team spirit, camaraderie. If you talk about some tactical skills, they teach you weapon training is there, where we are taught to how to handle, how to fire different kind of weapons, right? Starting right from INSAS, then AK-47, then we have pistols, we have the light machine guns, and sometimes rocket launchers also,
Okay.
grenades also. And there we have the tests with respect to the swimming as well. There's a 10-meter jump which is dreaded by most of the people, and people might remember the Lakshya movie in which there were cadets jumping from 10-meter jump. It's exactly the same.
Okay.
So there are a whole lot of things that they teach you, and the entire aim is to get a product ready, and the product is an officer who is energetic, who is confident, who is physically fit, and who is ready to take on any challenge that might come. And actually, when we take that oath just before passing out, that oath itself says that we are ready to sacrifice our life and obey the orders even to the peril of our lives. Even if we die doing that, but we will do it. So that is the spirit which Academy has ingrained in all the officers. And that is visible in a lot of brothers of ours who have sacrificed their lives. So without even thinking of their own lives, without thinking of their families behind, they lay everything that they have. And we, as the countrymen, should always remember that and respect those sacrifices.
True that, absolutely. I'm sure many of the youth will be inspired by what you're speaking. And sir, like what you mentioned about the AK-47 or these rocket launchers and all these things. See, when we grow up, these are something like a distant dream where somewhere, sometime in future, you feel like holding them. So, what was your first experience when you actually got hold of that ammunition? Because this is something which is as a child, when many of the youth who want to get into the armed forces, they always dream of it, holding the weapons and all. So what was your experience initially?
Actually, the training is a very gradual kind of training. They'll not straight away land you to firing. There are dummy weapons there. So first they'll have those dummy weapons and then they'll familiarize you with that. Then the original weapons you learn with opening up the different components, assembling them. And then with a lot of physical training, a lot of knowledge about the weapon, then they take you to the range, to the weapon where ultimately you will be firing. And a very strict protocol is there. There's very strict discipline. And in fact, weapon training range is something which is the most fascinating as well as the most dreaded part. Fascinating because for the first time in your life, you will be firing the live ammunition. And dreaded because if you falter at one point, you are had for the entire day. There are huge kilometers of ground there. You will be rolling around those rounds. You will be running. You will be doing all kind of things. So weapon training, for that matter, other components, but weapon training is something which builds that kind of discipline in you because you cannot falter actually. If you falter in the weapon training range, actually, there are very strict protocols. It's a matter of life and death if you falter somewhere. So my experience, if you talk about, I was always fascinated. And the most wonderful thing that I remember was not with respect to the small arms weapon like the AK-47. It was for the rocket launcher. Rocket launcher is something which is fired by two individuals.
Okay.
One will be the one who will be pressing the trigger and the other will be the one who will be putting the ammunition.
Acha.
Yeah. So, and it's like it produces such a huge buzzing sound that you are left gasping for breath as well as you shiver when that fire comes. But it's a lifetime experience, definitely.
Amazing, sir.
Yes.
And going by the larger question that many of the young aspirants or youth of this country who have the ambition to join army or the defense forces, so what is those three attributes that you would say that are essential for a youth to join the armed forces?
First, as I told you, it is the sincerity and the willingness to learn. You should not, because the problem sometimes with the youth of today, not just youth, with everybody, it is that we think that we know everything. It is very important to be confident, but at the same time, it is very important to be humble. Because life can humble the best of us.
True that.
So the first thing is sincerity and the willingness to learn. Second is the pursuit of discipline, the pursuit of improvement. Because discipline is not just that you know discipline and that's done. Discipline is something which helps you to keep improving upon as an individual. That willingness to keep improving is the second most important aspect. Because you may be good at something, but there will be n different things which we may not be good at. So the willingness to learn and stay disciplined. And third is, of course, the love for the country. And that should be the first point, but last, because it needs to be emphasized more. In today's time, when so many distractions are there, so many things which are troubling youth and troubling the country also.
True.
So it is the most important thing that all of us, including the youth, need to realize that the country is going to be shaped by the love that we have for the country. And by love, I do not mean just a blind love, just love without any actions. It needs all of us to come forward and take our responsibilities in whatever domain we are. It can be defense forces, it can be civil services, it can be teaching, it can be medical field, anything that you want, but be the best in that.
True that. And let us get back to our transformation from army to civil services. How did this happen? Was there any inspiring or motivating force behind this, or was there any mentor who suggested you to transform from, get into the civil services? So how did this happen?
Actually, it again boils down to the mindset.
Hmm.
There are two things. One is, as I shared in the beginning,
Hmm.
the ultimate aim for me has always been the public service, the service of my country.
Hmm.
And you mentioned about what was the motivational factor.
Hmm.
For me, it was not the motivational factor. It was a decision that I took.
Hmm.
I suffered an injury while in the academy.
Okay.
Not in the academy, while in a training event. It was in 2017.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
And I suffered an injury of the spine and the ankle.
Oh my God.
So you may call it a motivating thing.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so from 17 to
Out of
19,
these
I was...
adversities, we
Yes.
try
So
to.
it's a kind of adversity. I do not take it as an adversity because
Hmm.
if I be frank, till today, I have never complained to God or to the universe
Hmm.
that why did it happen to me?
Hmm.
Because I have always believed that universe has larger plans for you. Universe always will test you and universe will help you reach there. But the universe will only help. The rest of the effort has to be from you.
Hmm.
So 2017, I suffered the injury.
शाहरुख खान के मूवी में भी एक डायलॉग रहता है ना.
Yes, exactly. That I share with a lot of students.
Yeah.
But that dialogue says that
Could you tell
अगर
that to the
अगर
viewers
आप
as
किसी चीज को पूरी शिद्दत से चाहते हो तो सारी कायनात आपको उस चीज को दिलाने में लग जाती है. But here one thing has to be added, which Shahrukh Khan missed probably, is that you also need purity of intentions.
well? True that.
आप किसी चीज को चाहते हो, that's okay.
Hmm.
But what is the ultimate goal? If your intentions are pure, then the universe will be behind you, with you, with all the force. And I think that is what happened with me also. So 17, I got injured.
Hmm.
17 to 19 was a time of turmoil.
Hmm.
I was struggling with my injury. I could not sit without support. I could
Okay.
not walk properly. I have not run, in fact, since 2017.
Oh.
So that was a very tough time. I continued doing my duty.
Hmm.
So around about 19, I made a conscious call that
How did you manage yourself? Because that was a very difficult phase. Like you were into the service, and then suddenly, all of a sudden, this thing props up. And whereas the field that you're in requires physical agility. So in that situation, how did you, get yourself back?
it was a struggling phase. As I told you, I kept struggling, but I kept doing whatever maximum I could, and that was the period which made me think that maybe I may not be able to contribute that effectively in the army, given my injury. Though I was doing my best, I was doing better than maybe many, but I thought that this is not my best. Because I could not train with my troops. I could not run with them. I've been an active sports person. I've been playing basketball. I could not do that. So it started affecting me. So I took it positively and thought that the universe wants me to do something else. So I just trusted the universe and let the universe hold my hand. And the rest is history. Yes.
Amazing. Was there any particular person who inspired you in all this process? Like, it's not that easy to get into the army and then also get into the IPS, right? So was it your parents or any particular person or your guru? Do you have anybody as such in your journey that...
If you talk about that person, I think not during the military phase, but before that, this whole thing had been done by him. That I mentioned his name earlier also, my principal.
Okay.
Yeah, Father Joseph. And of course, my parents. So they have right from the beginning ingrained that spirit in us. That come what may, the world may be not doing what is required to be done. But we do not have to be part of the world. We have to do what is required to be done for this country, for the society. So that was the motivation always. And if you talk about motivation after the injury, in fact, I never felt demotivated. There's never been a time in my life. I may have been sad at times, but I've never been demotivated in life.
Amazing.
And I think that credit goes to the people I mentioned, my parents and Father Joseph, and of course to the military training.
True that.
So all these things clubbed together, they have ingrained a belief system that nothing is insurmountable. So I think that was always the belief that I will be able to do it. And for me, I'll be frank, for me, the challenge was not to clear the civil services. Because When I was commissioned, I was a permanent commissioned officer.
Okay.
A permanent commissioned officer has terms of service of 20 years.
True.
So I could not have left before 20 years.
Hmm.
And the biggest challenge was, will the army leave me or not? Because 20 years before that, it's difficult. But then I surrendered to the universe, and universe got me here.
Great. Great.
So that is where I always say that if your intentions are pure, universe will find ways for you. You don't have to do anything. Just be sincere, be clear about your goals, and everything will fall into place.
True that. Absolutely true. And having decided to prepare for civil services, how did you start? Like when it comes to the preparation, where did you start? How did you start? This is where like intention तो बन गया, civils prepare करना है. अब उसके बाद, how did you take the first step? What was the first step that you took? And what were the challenges that you faced in this phase?
So I remember I had a leave of 15 days when 2019. I went home for 15 days. And since my brother was preparing for civil services, his books were lying there.
Acha.
So I had made up my mind. So I remember I began with Lakshmikant. There's a book lying there. And in those 15 days, I finished the book.
Acha.
So that is where it started on my own. And then I went back to the unit. I bought all the books. And then on my own started reading. I had the advantage because my brother had prepared. So I had a little bit of information that what are the books to be read, that are to be read. But in the entire journey, I've kept the things very simple. If I pick up a book from a particular subject, I'll not change the source. Till date, I've not changed the source. I've always stuck to what I started with. And you spoke about the challenges. 2019, 17 to 19, I was posted in Amritsar.
Okay.
And once I began my preparation, because the Amritsar tenure of 2 years was over, I was posted to Jodhpur. Now this unit in Jodhpur, my task was a little different from the other conventional units. I was required to move a lot. And in fact, from 2019 till the time I stayed for 3 years in the army, 3 years more in the army, I kept moving. I always had 2 bags ready. One bag was always a bag of uniform, and the other was the bag of books. And 2019, when I went to Jodhpur, I stayed in Jodhpur for 15 days. And after 15 days, I found myself in the valley, Kashmir Valley. And that was the time when abrogation of 370 had happened. As I landed on the airport, there was no mobile network, nothing. I could somehow find the person who was supposed to take me to the unit. So for the next 4 or 5 months, I was there. There was no network. We kept working. I kept studying. So I could balance. And from there, I went back to Jodhpur, from Jodhpur to Pune, and then back to Jodhpur, then to Fazilka in Punjab, then to Samba in Jammu Kashmir, back to Jodhpur. So this process kept moving. In fact, in the last 2.5, 3 years when I was there, I moved around 100 plus times.
Oh my God.
Yes. But I kept studying whatever I could do during this time. And students generally ask me what is how to manage time. What is the best way to manage time? So all this while I learned that the best way to manage time is to reduce the time you're wasting.
Very well said.
Because at the end of the day, you will have some obligations that you would be required to do.
True.
And the irony is there are no more than 24 hours.
Hmm.
You have to sleep for 6-7 hours. Still you're left with 15-16 hours. Even if you work for 8 hours, you are still left with 8 hours. So I never studied for more than 6-7 hours any day, other than a period of 10-15 days while I was in the Kashmir Valley when I started my preparation. So as I told you, the universe is there with you. So that was the time I was just starting my preparation. And it was December, I think. It started snowfall. Snowfall started there. And I was working on an equipment which required the weather to be clear. So for 15 days, we were drenched in the snowfall. We were covered in the snowfall knee deep. And that gave me a time because there was no work to be done because the equipment was off. So I just used to go meet my men and come back. And those 15 days, I studied for 15 hours every day. Only that is the period when I studied for 15 hours.
Phenomenal.
And other than that, I'll be frank, I have not studied more than 6 to 7 hours.
Acha.
But that gave me the indication that the universe is pushing you. So I never looked back. 6 to 7 hours every day without miss for 2 years, 3 years. And when I used to go home on leave. Or sometimes, in fact, I took leave and did not go home.
Okay.
I stayed in the unit and in my room and studied there only.
Okay.
So slowly and slowly, the information that I had to gather, it built up. I revised and revised and revised. So ultimately, things have started happening.
So it was more about consistency
Yes.
and the quality of study.
Yes.
Because people also ask this question. Most of the students they might be asking you as well. कितने घंटे पढ़ना है? How many hours do we study? So they say 18 hours, 15 hours. So these are all myths.
Absolutely. It is actually, I often say in a very joking way
Hmm.
that you have to qualify civil services alive. If you study for 15 hours for 2 years,
Huh.
you will die after 1 year maybe. So that's not required. You are required to reach there in good physical health, in good mental health, and not as a zombie. So if you are studying for 15, 16 hours and not even sleeping for 4 hours a day, I'm not saying it is impossible. It is possible. But at what cost?
True that.
You have to be good enough to reach there fit and fine.
Hmm.
So the consistency is not even 365 days you have to study.
Hmm.
Out of the 365 days, if we can maintain the 8-hour average for 300 to 320 days, so you're good to go.
True that.
Yes.
And also taking care of your health.
That is most
Physical
important.
as well as
that is
mental.
most important.
Yeah.
Because if we do not take care of our health, we might study for 15 days, but the next 45 days we might be in the hospital.
Hmm.
So it is better maintain an average of 8-9 days, even 8-9 hours or even 10 hours you can,
Hmm.
but not at the cost of your health.
Hmm.
Maintain and give some time in the day for some physical workout, maybe some yoga.
Hmm.
Go for a walk.
Hmm.
The body is meant to work out. So that aspect also has to be taken care of.
True that. True that. And once you started your preparation, you said that you have gone through several textbooks, which are supposed to be called the standard books. And many aspirants in the initial phase, as well as they progress in their preparation, they're always attracted or let's say tempted to go for new sources, new material which is available online as well as offline. These days, you see there's a dump of information which is available. So, how did you have the restraint, or whether you also subscribe to them, or you stuck to the standard sources of information?
I think the same thing I've been telling the students around. You have to fight this fear of missing out.
FOMO.
That will always land you in trouble.
Hmm.
If you ask me, as I repeated earlier, I have never referred to anything other than those standard books. I've not even read all NCRTs.
Okay.
I've just read standard books, NCRT only of geography.
Hmm.
That also 2 books, 11th and 12th, Indian and the world geography.
Hmm.
Other than that, I have not read any NCRT also. Because once I started with polity, for example, I told you I began with Lakshmikant. So when I read it for the first time, it took me 15 days, but I could understand everything. So I thought there's no requirement of going back to the NCRTs. Now the irony is students feel that the syllabus is vast. It is not. When we talk about prelim specific, if we talk about, I always, whenever I take sessions, I make the students themselves count the number of books. And the number of books that we arrive at are 10. There are only 10 books that are required to be read. 3 books of history, 1 of polity, environment, economy, then science tech, art and culture. That's it. So it amounts to 10 books only. But the irony is, most of the students, because of this fear of missing out, they do not have trust. That is not just applicable to the sources. Generally, the generation or the times today are, we do not trust anybody or anything.
Very pessimistic about everything.
Yeah. So the irony is they will make these 10 books into 20 and 20 into 30.
True that.
Now it's a very normal thing. Just think from a layman's point of view. I have my study table. On that, I have only 10 books.
Okay.
Or in place of that, I have a study table and my bed, all filled with 30-35 books. That will not let me study.
True.
And even in that,
वो देख के ही frustrate हो जाते
yes, and even with respect to these 10 books, my preparation strategy was very simple. I will not pick up more than 1 book at a time. If I pick polity, I will finish this polity because I know the number of pages it has. At the end of the day, it boils down to number of pages the book is having.
True.
So for example, if it has 600 pages, now I know that if I study 100 pages every day, I'll be able to cover polity in 6 days. So I am able to plan in a better way. So that way I will be able to plan for the entire next 45 days, 50 days in which the entire GS syllabus has to be revised. But if I take 2 to 3 books at a time, people do that also. That's not a bad way to do. But I felt that way my planning will not be very effective. Because how will I divide the time and how much will be I able to study? That becomes a little complicated.
True.
Not that it is not advisable. People do it. People get bored with one subject and pick up the other. But I never got bored. because I didn't have the luxury of time.
Hmm.
So I picked up a book and finished it. In addition to one static subject, I picked up current affairs.
Okay.
So I repeated the same process over and over again.
Good, good. And for the benefit of the students, could you let them know what are the sources or the standard sources that you have referred to for each subject? Could you give you the
Okay.
breakup for
So
that?
for polity, I read Lakshmikant. This is for the prelims. For the mains, we'll cover once we are done with the sources. So for the prelims, Lakshmikant for polity. For history, for the modern history spectrum, then R.S. Sharma for ancient history, and for the medieval, I have Satish Chandra. Then
These
for
are the NCRTs, right?
Yes.
Ancient medieval?
Yes.
Okay.
And then for the environment, I read Shankar IAS. Initially, I read it, but once you read it completely, then you realize that it's a very bulky book. You're not required. You read it very selectively. For example, there's a chapter on the conventions, UNFCCC convention, COPs, the Conference of Parties. There's no need of covering right from COP1 because the question will come from the latest.
True.
So that you realize actually with experience. So first you do read that. And then we talk about geography. Geography, I've read 11th and 12th. One is the Indian and the geography. Very selectively, I've read GC Leong.
Okay.
A few chapters from GC Leong.
Okay.
And economy, I have referred to only one book, that is Ramesh Singh. I'm not sure whether people are still reading it or not. But I started it in 2019. I stuck to it. And art and culture, Nitin Sanghani again. And these are the books that I've read. And when it comes to mains, because these books that I mentioned for the prelims, it will cover most of the things.
True.
Now, whatever the topics which you feel are not covered for the mains, the best is rather than referring to any standard books, make your own notes. For example, because GS1 is more static, only society part is there.
How?
But other than that, if you ask about GS2 and GS3, the best way is go to the mains detailed syllabus and make a list of topics which you have not covered in the prelims in these standard books. And these will not be more than 30 to 40 topics. It will not be more than that.
True that.
So let's assume that there are 30 topics. Now what you're required to do is, suppose you are appearing for 26 examen. Now these 30 topics, make one topic note every day. Notes of one topic every day. So in 30 days, your entire GS2 will be done. Or maybe if we talk about GS3, maybe not 30, 50 topics. So in next 50 days, if you make 2 topics a day, 30 days. If you make one topic, 50 days. So in 3 months, just by studying 1 hour every day, you will be completely done with your main syllabus of GS2 and GS3. And in addition, maybe 20 days for society. So it becomes 3 months. So 3 months you are done completely with GS1, 2 and 3. And of course, for ethics and essay, there's a different strategy. But more than this, you're not required to refer to anything other than current affairs, of course.
Amazing, sir. Having said that, you mentioned about note making. So it's maybe, a lot of students have these queries like, what is the art of note making? How do we make notes? Whether we go for digital note making or hard copy or the written format. What was your strategy and what is your suggestion to the aspirants?
For the current affairs, my strategy has been, in fact, since 2019, I started preparing. You will be surprised that I have made notes every year. I made it 2019, 2020, 2021, 22, 23, 24, and even this year I made notes.
True.
So for last 6 years, I have made digital notes every year. Earlier, I did not have a tab. So I used to, there was an app. So I used to copy from there and I made a WhatsApp group of my own and I used to copy paste there.
Achha.
And at the end of the month, I used to take a printout by exporting the chat.
Achha.
So I had made notes every year. So digital notes, yes, preferably if you have the source. Some people may not be having the tablets. So definitely you can make current affairs notes by hand also. But if you talk about the static portion, the GS part, then definitely handwritten notes would be preferred. And the main guiding light is your notes on any specific topic should not be more than 1.5 page. 1, 2 and 3 mean 3 sheets, not more than that.
Okay.
Front, back and another half, because at the end of the day, you will have only one question on that. And the maximum length is 250 words. And 250 words, I think you can cover very comfortably. The problem is when we start making notes, we will make 10-page note of each topic.
Sahi baat hai.
So at the end of the day, we will have again the same thing, 10 books converted into 30. A simple study table which is empty will be filled with so much that we don't know what to do. So that is the irony. So just go to the Google. Whatever the search engine gives you, the top 2 websites, just note down from that. The best of the things. Here we are not required to note English part of it. Grammar is not required. Just facts. Facts, reports, maybe some flowcharts.
Okay.
Nothing other than that.
Okay.
So that way, the total content would be very limited,
Hmm.
and you will be able to revise
Revise
it
it.
more effectively.
Hmm.
So that is the secret. We will do everything other than this.
True that. True that. Many of the students, lose out on their time, qualitative time, because of these misconceptions and the wrong direction that they choose. So, having spoken about note making, when it comes to answer writing, mains examination is about answer writing, a subjective exam. Now, students have this, apprehension. Where do I start my answer writing from? How do you write an answer? What makes a good answer? Sir, my handwriting is not good. Do you think I can prepare for UPSC? So, all these misconceptions or apprehensions, a lot of students must have come up to you as well. So, what is your suggestion for them, and what was your strategy for the same?
So, firstly, frankly, I'm somebody who has not practiced answer writing a lot.
Acha.
You will be amazed because I was the first attempt which I cleared, 2022. I was still in the army till the mains. The only answer writing I did was the optional, and that also 6 tests, not more than that.
What was your optional, sir?
Philosophy.
Okay.
So for GS1, GS2, GS3, GS4 essay, I did not write even one word.
Mm-hmm.
So that is something I tell students not to follow.
Okay.
Because I'll be
But,
frank, I'll be honest with that.
True that.
Yes.
But the thing is, like, you made your own notes. Probably that was one of the
Yes.
reason where you could get really good marks in the mains
I
exam.
wanted to, but because of the paucity of time, I could not. But I
तो
wanted to.
नोट मेकिंग तो कर लिया
Yes.
शायद वो आंसर राइटिंग के
Yes.
लिए हेल्प हुआ होगा
True, true. For me, actually, answer writing, some people do it without answer writing also. For me, the problem is time management because I am a slow writer. Not even a slow writer, you can say, but my grip is like that. I hold the pen very tightly, right from the childhood days. So after 2 tests, one GS1, GS2, and essay is done, this finger goes bad.
अच्छा
There's a con here then. So then I find it difficult to write with speed.
Hmm.
So, but definitely that's no excuse. And how to improve answer writing, I'll tell you an example. I was in Lucknow for a session. It was a gathering of 1000 plus students. So they asked me this very question. That's how do we improve the answer writing? I gave them a task. I think the date was 23rd of November 2024, last year.
Okay.
So I told them, today I give you a task. All that you need to do is write 2 answers every day. And after 1 month, report to me, mail me or message me on Instagram that, sir, this is the number of answers that I have written. And can you tell me what would be your wild guess that out of those 1000 students, how many would have written back to me?
Going by how students react when the initial enthusiasm is there, they speak, but when it comes to practicality, I think hardly 10% of what it might be.
So 10% of 1000 would mean 100.
100 उतना भी नहीं होगा शायद.
Okay. Only one student wrote.
Oh
to me.
my god.
That is the success rate of this examination. One student out of 1000. That's why 1000 out of 10 lakh. What was the task? 2 answers every day, 15 minutes. And we need to remember that preparation for civil services is something which we have decided for ourselves. For most of us, if somebody has been forced into it, that's a different case. But it is something which we want to do on our own, which we have decided as a career.
True.
So if we cannot be disciplined about our own goals, then I think we need to rethink our inner structures, inner thought process. 15 minutes if we are not able to spare for our dreams, for something which will change the life. So that is the problem. So the first thing what students can do is, irrespective of the fact that whether they have studied anything or not, spare 15 to 20 minutes and write 2 answers every day.
Okay.
If you are not prepared, prepare the answers and write. Suppose you have not read anything. And now we talk about the same efficiency of 300 days a year. You study only for 300 days. And you write 2 answers every day. After 1 year, 300 days,
600.
you will have, it's not 600 answers. It is 600 topics.
True that.
You are prepared 600 topics.
Almost पूरा syllabus खत्म हो
And in the entire one mains, you will be required to write only 120 answers. So you have already written 5 times that. This is such a simple thing which students don't do. If we can do it, then I think it will only be some divine intervention that will prevent you from top 100.
True that.
Yes.
And what was your methodology of framing answers in the mains examination? What format did you adopt? Was it a point format or was it a paragraph format? And what was the structure that you usually adopt for answer
I
writing?
generally followed the point format because even in the army, there's a specific way of writing. We call it minor SD.
Okay.
There's a service writing format. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a very strict format in which we write in point form.
Okay.
Heading, then subheading.
Hmm.
It goes on like this. It's a hierarchy kind of staircase kind of thing. So
Acha.
just follow that.
Mm-hmm.
And because,
Keep it as simple as
yes,
possible, as precise as possible.
because I often tell students, not just for the prelims, not just for the mains, not just for the interview, for all stages, not just here, anywhere in life.
Hmm.
If you are facing some examination or you're supposed to appear somewhere as an interview, always, first of all, keep yourself in the chair of the examiner or the interviewer.
Hmm.
Now, here we are talking about the mains. Now, first, imagine that you are the one who is going to check the answers.
Hmm.
And to simplify the process, you can download 4 or 5 answer sheets of toppers and check it yourself.
Okay.
Then you will realize what is the requirement from the examiner's point of view.
Hmm.
He also needs to make sure that the answer copy is very easy to check. Whatever the major points, he's able to have a look at them at the first glance. So if you are writing in paragraphs, and some people write so clumsy paragraphs, so tight that you are not able to identify what is written. But same thing if you have written in point form and with proper underlining and even circling sometimes, or keeping the things in box, or kind of flow chart sometimes. So the examiner is able to have a look and he's not facing any difficulty to check your answers.
Hmm.
So he's in a good mood. He's positive. So he might give you 1 extra mark.
True.
1 extra mark in any exam or 2 extra marks in each exam.
Hmm.
You end up with 20 more.
True that.
And
That's a
20 more can
significant
change the
impact.
rank by 200 ranks.
True, true.
Yes.
Coming to your optional, sir, you said that you have opted for philosophy. See, students graduate from diversified fields, right? Whether it is their MBBS or in BTech, you have several streams. In BA, you have several streams. Out of that, when a student opts for civil service preparation, there's a conception or a perception that there are some popular optionals. So, what is your take on this? Like, why do we have only some optionals which are called as to be popular? Are we limiting our scope of choice when it comes to the optional subject, whereas UPSC has given a huge list of optionals? Why people opt for only specific optionals? Out of that, you have chosen philosophy, which is also not something which most of the students take. So what was the thought process, and what is your guidance for the students in choosing an optional?
For me, the thought process was very simple because same thing, I had limitation of time. And philosophy is something which has always intrigued me, right from the young days. Philosophical questions like what is life? What is death? Who is God? How do you define God? Whether God exists or not. And it also teaches us about the various schools of Indian philosophy. We talk about Buddhism, we talk about Jainism, we talk about Vedanta, we talk about Shankaracharya's philosophy, Ramanuja's philosophy. So these are the questions which I had thought about as a young child.
Okay.
So one was the interest factor, and the second was the syllabus is very limited.
Okay.
You can complete it in decent time. But the second question that you asked about why only a specific optional students are taking, I think it has more to do with the availability of resources and guidance. Because once a trend starts, so most of the toppers will be from those subjects. So once that is there, then of course people will like to have those subjects where they have some clarity and some easily available, readily available guidance. But on the other hand, for subjects like sciences also, there are students who have graduated from IITs, from MTechs, and even normal colleges also with technical subjects. Some of them do take technical subjects and score very well. There are people who have scored 316 in mathematics,
How?
315 electrical engineering.
True that.
But that is only when they have decent command. Because I was speaking to somebody who belongs to a civil engineering background, but he took some other option.
Okay.
So he told me that, sir, in civil engineering, the derivations are very long. It is not that I do not have control, command, but the time is the factor. I may not be able to solve the questions in time. So that is one factor which students are motivated or forced to take art subjects.
Okay.
And why these are famous may be something to do with some policies of UPSC sometimes. Because that is also a fact that not all options are scoring well. So that is also something which students need to take into consideration. Because at the end of the day, you are not here to do some doctorate research on this.
True that.
You are here to pass the examination.
One competitive exam.
And pass that in as less time as possible. So definitely you see the trend of the optionals. If you talk about philosophy is not doing that well in terms of the UPSC.
Yes.
Yeah, marks are less than 270 also, 260 also sometimes.
In spite
So,
of that, you had chosen that. That was
yeah.
all sheerly out of
Yeah,
passion.
because I never saw any other factor rather than my interest and my
Hmm.
own skills.
Hmm.
So I never see what's happening in the market. Even for the interview, people tell that this is what you should have a look at the transcriptions that are there or all that thing. But I never refer to all that.
Probably that helped you a lot,
Yes,
actually, not to get diverted.
yes. So it's up to you. But at the end of the day, optional, yes. If you have a option which is giving some returns in the UPSC,
Hmm.
definitely you can consider that.
Hmm.
So you shortlist 3 to 4 optionals.
Hmm.
Then one factor is interest. Yes, interest has to be the topmost factor because
Okay.
it is just like I often equate it to eating food.
Hmm.
You can eat something for a day
Hmm.
which you don't like,
Hmm.
but you cannot eat every day. You can eat every day only that thing which you like.
Hmm.
So it is same with the optional because optional is something you are required to study every day for long periods of time. You will be required to make notes. Even if you don't make GS notes, you cannot compromise with the optional. Optional
Sure.
notes have to be made. So take an optional which you have interest in, but at the same time look at the trends which have been there in the past few years.
Hmm. Amazing.
This is a
Nice.
practical reality, which
True
I
that.
never believed in, but the UPSC works like that.
True that. True that. And when it comes to optional answer writing, philosophy, what was your modus operandi for answer writing in the
It is
optional
actually
paper?
philosophy is very simple that way.
Hmm.
The only thing is you need to understand the question very well.
Hmm.
The main problem, not just with philosophy, other GS papers also, most of us write what we know and not what is answered, what is asked in the question. For example, if there is a question that about, if I talk about philosophy only, now the question can be direct that what is it that is the hallmark of Vedanta, or we can say Advait Vedanta of Shankaracharya. That can be a simple question. So you will write everything about him. But if the question is specific, that how is it different from the Vishisht Advaitvad of Ramanuj?
Hmm.
So there your approach has to be different. You have to answer what is asked. You know what Ramanuja spoke about. You know what Shankaracharya spoke about. But you have to relate that.
Hmm.
Now you would be required to compare point by point. That in this aspect, for example, about the definition of Brahm, this is what Shankaracharya says. But this is what Ramanuja says. So you have to address the question. But sometimes the biggest problem which all of us face, me included, that we deviate. We start writing what we have read and not trying to apply ourselves. So application based process is sometimes missing.
Okay.
So that is something not just here, in most of the optionals and even in sometimes GS also.
Yeah, sir. And having spoken about philosophy optional, another hobby that you have is motivating the students. Most of the students that you interact with, after hearing your speech or the interactive session with you, they're enthused, and they also say that they have found a direction in their preparation or whatever endeavor that they want to take up in life. So how did this hobby come into picture, like motivating students or giving motivating speeches, क्योंकि आजकल के ज़माने में people are only worried about themselves. So why did you actually venture out into this endeavor, and what motivates you to take up motivation?
Actually, I think this is something, the seeds of which were sown way back when I was a school child.
Hmm.
As a 4th or 5th class student, I started going on the school, on the stage. And then I think I kept on, I always looked for an opportunity, even while in school, even while in class. If the teacher asked me who wants to read, so I was the first one to raise my hand. So that was a conscious effort on my part to improve upon my communication skills. And then I told you we started an NGO. So in that NGO, I was going to lots of schools and colleges in Aknoor, in Jammu, and talking about climate change, talking about right to information. So there the only aim was to improve upon my skill and to give back to the society. But now the thought process is the youth and this nation needs a direction. That's the truth. We have lost our way in a big way. Not all, but many of us, many of the young students, young people of this country, and even the grown ups, the direction is somewhere missing. And right now, we are in the times of demographic dividend for our country. What happens in the next 25, 30 years, while we have the largest young population in the world, will decide where we end up towards the end of the century, or maybe by the time we celebrate 100 years of our independence.
True.
So I think that comes from that responsibility. When I am on the stage, I feel that it's my responsibility to make sure that Even if I can change the life of one individual, my life is done. The aim is met. So that is the thought process with which I am very keen and always looking forward to interact with the young minds.
Amazing, amazing, sir. And coming back to our UPSC preparation sojourn, so you had cleared the mains examination and coming to the personality test or the final leg of preparation. So, what was your approach towards the personality test? And I'm also aware that you scored phenomenally good marks in the personality test. So, could you guide the students or give them some insights on what should be the approach? What was your modus operandi? And what are the mistakes that you shouldn't do while preparing for the final stage of this exam?
The mistake is the same mistake that students did while that example I gave you of the answer writing.
Hmm.
Because personality test is something which students start focusing upon only after the mains results are out.
Hmm.
That is the biggest flaw. We have to realize that personality is not something which you can make in 2 days or 2 months also. It is a lifelong process. It needs consistent efforts. It started way back while you were in school. But now we cannot go back and change it. So the journey starts today. Do not wait for the interview. Do not wait for the mains results to be out. So on a daily basis, first you have to understand what personality is. Personality is the way you dress. Personality is the way you walk. It is the way you eat. It is the way you treat other people. And if you talk about especially about the interview, it is how you interact, how good you are to talk to. So these are some of the things which we have to start working on right now. I often tell students, even while I was taking the classes, that the aim has to be so confident that come what may, whether it is 5 people in front of you or 5 million people, it doesn't bother you. You are still the same. So that practice has to start today. I often tell them every day, just like the answer writing, spare 15 to 20 minutes every day. You don't have to read anything extraordinary. May it be the newspaper that you're reading, or maybe the polity book that you're reading, or anything. 15 to 20 minutes every day, read it as if you are reading for a news channel, as if you are the host of the prime time. You are the Palki Sharma Upadhyay. So if you practice that way every day, just 15 minutes, by the end of the year, by the time you appear for the prelims or by the time your mains results are out, you will be already ready. And the second thing that I need or I would advise the students to do is start thinking about yourself, introspection. Because there is a famous quotation that no amount of self-improvement can make up for the loss of self-acceptance. And that self-acceptance will only come when we think about ourselves. We have to start thinking what are our strengths, which are the areas where we are weak. So then we start working on those areas. Unless and until we introspect and post introspection, we have the willingness and the courage to accept our flaws. How are we going to improve? Not just about communication skills, even about other things. We may be weak with respect to some skills. We may be short-tempered. We may be indisciplined. We do not get up early in the morning. We may be wasting a lot of time on social media. So unless and until we talk about that to ourselves and then do something about it, we're not going to improve. And personality is something which is a sum total of everything. So if you want to do well in the interview, aim should not be to do well in the interview. Aim should be that you want to do well in life.
Amazing.
So prepare for life, not for the interview. Communication skills, the way you treat people, your interpersonal skills, all that have to be top notch. Because one thing which I often tell students is, your thought process should be that you are not preparing for civil services for your own sake. You are preparing for civil services because tomorrow you want to shape how India looks. So if you prepare with that mindset, you cannot be lousy. You cannot be indisciplined. Because the moment the first day that you grow indisciplined, at night before you speak, talk to yourself. That is this what India needs? You will never repeat it. It's simple, but ironically not many of us will be doing it.
True that, true that. And could you share your experience with the UPSC interview board, or briefly what were the kind of questions that they asked and what was your response for the same, very briefly?
UPSC interviews actually revolving around what you've done in life. It is about your DAF. It is about your hobbies. It is about your optional. But the point is, you need to understand that they are somebody who have an experience of 30, 40 years. They are the age of our parents. They have a lot of experience in life, a lot of knowledge. We can never defeat them in knowledge. We can never defeat them with the experience. So what is left? Honesty and the confidence. This is what we play with. If you start playing with knowledge, then definitely there will be questions we will not be able to answer. Because they have a combined knowledge of 300 years. 5, they have 60 years, take an average. So it's an experience of 300 years questioning you. We will never be able to surpass that in terms of knowledge and experience. So we should be able to show them that we are honest. At no point of time should we answer anything which might sound as a bluff, which might come across as you're lying here. Because even with my limited experience, I've taken a few interviews. When I take the interview, I can tell with conviction that this person is lying here. And those people who are taking interviews every day for years now, and they have the experience of dealing with so many people. So they will be able to, at the first instance, they will be able to tell you that here you have lied. And the moment the panelists think that here you are dishonest or here you're not being honest, so you lost it. Because integrity is the most important hallmark of a civil servant. We need people who are honest. So that is one thing. And if you talk about my questions that were asked to me, they mostly revolve around my experiences in the army. I come from Jammu Kashmir, so a lot of questions concerning Jammu Kashmir. A few questions on philosophy, since my option was there. And a few questions on some very controversial questions, like a question was asked in the first interview. What's my take on the fact that the government is changing the names of the places a lot? So I thought for a while, and then my answer was that for me, it is not important whether we are changing the names or not. For me, what matters is how we are teaching history to our students. Because if we are teaching them the right thing not in terms of content, right thing in terms of what to derive out of that content.
True that.
So both in terms of positive events and negative events. I specifically answered in my interview to the board that if we are only teaching the negatives, positives, and we remove all negatives, for example, there's a lot of controversy going on around Aurangzeb. So if we delete Aurangzeb from history, and if we, any time in our subsequent lives, in the history of our country, in the coming history of our country, any time if we see similar things happening, so can we not learn lessons from why Aurangzeb went that way?
True.
How from the good times of Akbar we fell down to the times of Aurangzeb. So if we delete that history, how are we going to learn? So you teach good and the bad, but make your students, make the youngsters of this country capable of learning the right lessons even from the bad times. Here I am reminded of something which my principal taught me. So he told us because we always looked forward to, he always on the morning assembly, he used to come on the stage and address us. So he used to tell one thing, that a good student can learn even from a bad teacher. So though there are no bad teachers, but there are bad things in life. So a good person, a good student will always be able to learn positive out of that. So that is something which I think most of us need to understand. And not just for the civil servants, for the society at large, it can help a lot.
True that. If there are 5 important tips that you would like to give the civil service aspirants preparing for the personality test, what would that be?
Not just for the personality test, I'll give you for the entire thing.
Oh, amazing.
Number 1 is start with the belief system that I can and I will do it. That should be the starting point. Do not enter the field with a doubt that will or will not I be able to do it. It has to start with the conviction and not with a doubt. If you start with a doubt, then definitely things are going to be problematic. Here I'll tell you an example. I have a friend who right now is in the Railways Management Service.
Okay.
He's a product of IIT Kharagpur. Now he was telling me a few days back that, sir, I failed 3 times in the prelims. But even after failing 3 times, he was saying that I always had that belief that I will somehow do it. So this belief system is the starting point. Even after having failed 3 times, he believed that he will do it. He did it. And he's written mains again. He's given an interview again. And definitely he'll improve upon his rank also. So belief system and an unshakable belief system.
Hmm.
That is the starting point. After that, the second thing is simplify the process.
Hmm.
The process is not complex. Prelims only 10 books plus a few current affairs magazines
Hmm.
and mock test. You're
Hmm.
done with the prelims.
Hmm.
Means just a few addition of notes
Hmm.
and answer writing every day. So the entire process is very simple. Don't complicate the entire process. Keep it very simple. Third is consistency. For consistency, the idea is every day when you sleep, ask yourself two questions. This question, if you answer very honestly, you will never be inconsistent in life if you are a man of self respect. Of course, if you're not, then definitely it's not going to help. So, the number one question is, what is the goal of my life? And for civil servant aspirants, the goal is very clear. So, this is a very easy answer. The second question is, if that is the goal of my life, from the morning when I woke up till this time, have I done justice to that? Have I contributed even 1% to that? Now, here the problem is most of the days the answer will be no, but we will still say yes. Now, here the honesty part comes. If it is yes, pat yourself on the back and sleep confidently that I'll start again tomorrow. But if it is no, that is the first day of your being inconsistent. Sleep with a conviction that, okay, it was not my day today, but tomorrow I'll better this day. Tomorrow I'll be better. So, this is the very simplest of the processes which can help you be consistent.
Hmm.
And fourth is, you are not competing with 10 lakh people. It is a myth that you are competing with 10 lakh people. You are competing with that one individual who is stopping you. And that one individual is we ourselves. So stop comparing your preparation. Stop. Yes, it's always easy, good to have a circle which is preparing so that you get help. But don't compare yourself. You're not competing with them. Sometimes students don't help other students in the fear that they will do it and you will not do it.
Hmm.
Don't have that mentality. And finally, all this while something which is overlooked is your health.
Hmm.
Keep a little bit of physical activity, may it be a walk, may it be gymming, may it be some kind of yoga, or if nothing, just listen to the music and walk around. Because you need to be constructive in your mind, in your thought process. If you are positive and very focused, then definitely nothing can stop you. So these are the 5 things which I would like to tell the students.
Great, sir. True that. True that.